Hi everyone, Carl here, and in this video I will be making these tokens which can be used as treasure markers in Frostgrave, Wyrdstone markers in Mordheim, or objective markers in Warhammer. You might even be able to use them as points of interest in Rangers of Shadowdeep. I based my tokens on these 20mm furniture pads. You know, the things you stick under furniture so it doesn't slide around or damage the floor. These things are cheap and tough, so they should work fine, though you could also use miniature bases if you prefer. The pack I had also included these larger 40mm pads with this nice texture, which I might use in future for sci-fi objective markers. To give them an appropriate texture, I used the same technique I used in my video about cobblestone bases. These pads are self-adhesive, so I just stuck them onto some foam board. Slice the foam board in half to reduce thickness, and then cut it to shape. I'm still using the good foam board here, so I left the paper on. Depending on the type of foam board you have, you might want to remove the paper first. The texture is easily drawn on with a mechanical pencil. You can follow this up with a blunt pencil to give it a bit more shape and depth. I painted all the bases up in the same way as the walls of the watchtower. Base coat in Payne's Grey, sponged on some black and different browns, then dry brushed with lighter mixes of Payne's Grey and Ivory, before giving them all a black wash. After the wash, I dry brushed them with Ivory again. The ones I picked for the Wyrdstone tokens got a dry brush only around the edges, while the others were dry brushed all over. To make the chunks of Wyrdstone, I cut up some pieces of sprue and hacked at them with a knife. You could also sharpen them like you would do at a pencil, but be careful as the bits can fly quite a long way off. To paint them up, I base coated them in black, then gave them a heavy dry brush in very dark green. Then I used the same green to fill in the bottom half of every facet. You want to be careful here and keep the orientation of the piece in mind. You would paint the same piece differently depending on whether it is standing on an end or lying on the side. After that, I took a lighter shade of green and highlighted the center of each area I had filled in. I repeated this twice with lighter shades, but you can do this as many times as you like. At this point, I mixed in some warm yellow into the lightest shade and started to dry brush the edges. And finally, I dry brushed again with pure white to get some nice sharp edges. Before gluing the piece on the base, I dry brushed a little green, spreading out from the center to make it look like it was lit by the crystal. And that's the Wyrdstone tokens done. For the other markers, I raided my pile of shame for old sprues. Several sprues have little accessories or extra bits that can be used for this job. Skeleton sprues have a lot of spare skulls, which can come in handy. In this case, there's even a little animal skull that could be interesting. This old Citadel dwarf sprue has a bunch of little bits like a stein, a flask and a pipe, as well as an axe and a crossbow. The Citadel Empire militia kit also has this sprue which is full of accessories, like this book, scroll and chest. These will be useful. I also picked out this barrel from the Citadel Empire artillery kit. It was a bit too smooth though, so I cut in some grain with my knife to give it a texture. Now, I'd love to show you a finished set of tokens, but I only managed to finish 1.5 of them. It's not that they're particularly difficult, but I was having so much fun painting them up. that I got carried away and spent way too much time chasing details. So I'll show you what I have so far and post the rest up on Instagram when they're done. This piece has 2 books from the militia spruce, and I'm planning to add a little skull in the empty area there. This one, on the other hand, is made from the barrel and several bits from the dwarf sprue. I'm really happy with this one, as it's almost a little diorama. The mug on the barrel and the pipe on the floor make it look like something just happened there, though you're going to have to fill in the details of the story yourself. Telling a story in 2 centimeters is pretty cool. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it and maybe found something useful. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and see you around.